Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. It's Chris with One Dot Daily. In today's episode, we're going to take a look at a vintage Miller Brothers rope knife. Really cool knife, and I'm going to do what I would call kind of a vintage friendly little cleanup on it, not too invasive. So if you're interested in that, stick around, check out the video, get at me in the comments, tell me what you think of the knife. All right, so some of you guys have seen this knife has made a couple appearances in other videos, but I wanted to finally kind of focus on it today because I'm thinking I want to do a really light cleanup on it. And this knife is, I think, kind of significant for a couple of reasons. One being the maker of the knife, which is Miller Brothers, and I'm going to read a little bit about them in a second out of the Levins guide, but then also it being a rope knife that I believe it was this knife that won the U.S. Navy contracts away from the Sheffield makers, who had kind of a monopoly on producing knives for the U.S. Navy at that time. But because Miller Brothers was a large part of the Tariff Act of 1888, they were, I believe, able to influence the U.S. Navy to switch from a Sheffield knife to this exact knife. And this one's in really good shape. As you can see, it has this bail down here. Now, what's cool is it's got a lanyard hole, but it also has a bail. And this bail, as you can see, like moves freely and is brass. And most of the time when you see these, this bail is gone, because this knife is well over 100 years old. It's definitely pre-World War I, and these screws on a Miller Brothers knife kind of help to date it a little bit, although I don't know the exact cutoff date. But when it has the screws on it, it's a little bit older. But this blade is in, really good shape. There's just a very minimal amount of pitting. If this was completely full, it would be a sharp corner right here, and you can see a little bit of a smile or a belly kind of from being sharpened a little bit. But for the most part, this thing is like, the bone is perfect. There's no chips or cracks. This is a little area down here on the butt that sort of looks like it would be a chip, but there's like a texture to it. And I just think that it's the underside of that scale had that shape to it. It does not appear to be a chip to me. Anyway, very kind of rare to have the bail. To find it in this good of shape is just, I don't know. It's really cool. Let's see if I can get the tang in there. It's got a really good, strong stamp on it. And then the walk and talk on this thing, the spring is great. Really good snap all the way through, and a substantial knife. There was one made that is slightly smaller. This has an overall length of like, gee whiz. With the bail, you're at 9 inches, 8 1/4 without the bail. I think it's 5.5. What is it here? Closed. Let's see. Sorry, 4 1/4 without the bail, and then almost 5.5 closed if you figure in the bail. So it's a great big substantial knife. And let's just get into real quick a little bit about Miller Brothers in the Levins guide. So what we see here is in 1863, the Miller brothers, George and William, commenced operation in Yalesville and Wallingford. They moved to Meridian in 1872. Miller Brothers was an important firm that did much private brand contracting. Its knives are of exceptional quality. Many have the handle scales secured by tiny brass screws, a Miller Brothers trademark. Any older American knife with such screws is a contract knife made by Miller Brothers. In 1878, Miller Brothers was reorganized under William Rockwell, who soon took the lead in the American cutlery industry's fight for tariff protection. This greedy effort bore fruit in the Tariff Acts of 1890. 1897 and 1901. In consequence, Sheffield and Soligen, finding the U.S. market nearly closed to their knives, instead began exporting unemployed cutlers to work in the now flourishing American cutlery industry. American consumers paid dearly for these tariffs in inflated prices and lost markets, but Rockwell and a few other factory owners profited handsomely from them. Miller Brothers even managed to win U.S. Navy contracts for sailor knives away from Sheffield suppliers who had a lock on this business since our Navy had first set sail. Miller Brothers got out of the knife business in favor of steel pens in 1926. The firm went out of business in 1943. And then later on in this book, which I really think is cool, this is the Levin's Guide. It actually pictures this exact knife right here, as you can see, and it says Miller Brothers folder, bone stag, large size, gives a price $300, and then the rare small size, which is 1 inch shorter, not shown, which I used to have the 1 inch shorter one as well, and it's a very, very cool, pretty knife that I sold in one of my eBay sales. That one is actually slightly more rare than this one. Sorry, I lost focus for a minute. That one is slightly more rare than this one, and I'm not sure whether it was this exact knife or that other shorter one that was the U.S. Navy contract. But I think it might have been this one. But anyways, so this knife kind of has some significance, both because it's Miller Brothers and then the rope knife that possibly won the contract from Sheffield. But Miller Brothers, in the Great Eastern Cutlery book, because the Catlin brothers of Northfield, who are, who own Northfield Knives, which Great Eastern Cutlery has kind of taken that brand, and anyways, my interest in GEC led me to this book. But then this book goes in depth about the Tariff Act, because the Catlin brothers basically started lobbying the U.S. government to make these tariff acts, and they elected William F. Rockwell from the Miller Brothers to be the president of the association that they came up with, the American Cutlery Association, that helped enact or helped implement the tariffs. He was kind of tasked with, as the president, of overlooking these tariffs and implementing them, both here and abroad. So anyways, Miller Brothers is significant for that reason. And this book is great if you ever want to get into the tariff acts that, kind of helped save the U.S. cutlery industry. Miller Brothers was significant in that process. So anyways, what we're going to do is, I think I'm going to do, because see, there's like it's just, it's got a lot of black patina kind of on the back spring, and on the blade there's a little bit of raised patina here, and I don't want to do a whole lot because this blade is in such good shape. It's fairly smooth. There's a little bit of pitting. There's some pitting back here, which I'm not going to get into any of that, but I just kind of want to see if I can't clean it up with this this polishing block. These things they're like a case eraser to some extent. So I'm gonna see if I can do that. I'm gonna maybe shine up this brass with just a sunshine cloth. I've sold off a couple Miller Brothers, but I have this one other project still that is beyond my skill set that I'm hoping at some point to get up the courage to fix this knife, because the deal with it is it doesn't have any snap closed. It has a half stop, not a lot, but the blade is in fairly good condition for a Miller Brothers and it being an easy open. It's just kind of neat. The secondary blade has plenty of snap. It's just that main blade and of course it's got it needs to be cleaned up a little bit, but it just doesn't come home, But it would involve me probably moving the hole for the tang hole, the pivot hole, and it's just a little bit beyond my skill set, but also my set of tools in the garage. I would need a very good drill press for that, and I don't have one. I've got like a cheap rotary tool drill press, and it's just no good. So anyways, this has to be like a one I'm saving for another day. But today we're gonna just shine this up a little bit. So stick around. Let's see what we can do just to do a very gentle cleanup on this really cool old knife. Stick around. All right, so I'm putting some wood blocks under to support while I kind of just go gently over this back spring with this hand block. Hopefully it'll work. I want to be extremely careful of this lanyard brass ring, because you don't find these with the ring very much. So, it's lasted this long. Hopefully, I don't want to damage that any further. So let's just try this. This thing does kind of a nice job because it doesn't, scratch up or put any like marks really in the blade. It just kind of takes off the top layer of, the grime and a little bit of like there was a little bit of rust on there, but it leaves the blade because you see there's marks going up and down. And there's just very, very subtle marks going across, like it was wiped. Not what a fiber wheel would do. A fiber wheel would put intense gashes and create heat going up and down. And, it leaves a little bit of where you can start to see the actual pitting. It's kind of like you get to see the real shape of the knife and not what's hidden underneath a little bit. I don't know. I'm going to go on the bolsters now because these are steel. And it'd be nice to get them uniform, because now it's just like a, kind of nice uniform patina there that isn't too deep. So let's see if we can get the bolsters going the same. This does cause a mess, and some of it gets in the joint, so you gotta then flush it out a little bit with some, I'm just gonna use mineral oil here. We'll use KPL at the end, but this is just to kind of flush some of it out. So let's get to work on the bolsters and see if we can make those look nice too. So So you can see kind of the difference between that side and that side. And I just prefer the cleaner looking metal, you know. All right, so now I'm going to take this like dentist tool and it's slanted in a way it's meant for like shaving or scraping on there, and I'm just going to take off on the inside because it's flat, so it'll get flat in there, and it'll just take off kind of the top layer because these bolsters are steel. You can see it gets some of that like there's, you know, it's 100 years old, so there's like some like rust and stuff in there that sticks up, and this just kind of takes off the top layer of some of that gently, which I can't get all the way down, but it gets, you know, some that's near the top, and it just kind of, I don't know, gets some of that out of there without putting sandpaper down in there, which is good, but it also causes a mess because the sandpaper gets grit all in the joints and stuff like that. And I just don't want to do too much of an invasive. I'll put some mineral oil in there after this, and you know, that'll get some out too. So the knife's coming along really, really well. These handles, man, they're really pretty and so crisp, and I haven't touched them, you know, I haven't done anything to them. But I want to just gently maybe shine up this brass ring a little bit, and I'm gonna use a sunshine cloth. And I didn't know how good these were until I learned this technique, which I saw. I'm gonna move the camera a little bit there until I saw this technique. Oh, I lost my light. I saw it by the Bearded Knife Guy, and I have to be really careful because this thing is fragile. Actually, I'll do it like this. But he put you to put on the table edge, and you know, you apply pressure that way, and it just gets it really, really even shine. I'm just being very, very careful with. All right, the knife is kind of like where I want it to be. I'm just gonna hit it with a little bit of flitz on the handle and everything, because I was gonna maybe sandpaper a little on the handle, but it like just doesn't need it at all. Okay, so here we got the final product, and it's looking really, really good. Like, things are just a little bit brighter and cleaned up, you know, nothing too dramatic, no real sanding. I mean, this thing does have, you know, it's kind of a sand flex or whatever the heck it is. It's like a case eraser. And I use a little bit of that just to get the black off the blade, but you know, leaving the patina and the pepper spots and like a little bit of actually it's really not pitting. I was able to get off. There's like only this spot do I feel anything to the touch. Everything else is really, really smooth and not overly done. So you'll see me take some knives and totally shine them up, right? And a lot of times, like I have like a I don't know, some threshold at some point where it's like No, this knife is one you don't want to do all that to, because it has so much already going for it that you leave it, for the most part, like, you know, this is the way you would kind of want to find a knife like this. Whereas a lot of knives that I have that, you know, if they're like, the blades are significantly worn down, or like it's been shined up before, maybe it's got a broken blade, that sort of thing, like that's a kind of a different category. Like that I'll shine up and make it look like as if it's, you know, just like, not brand new, but you know what I mean, shiny knives. This one has a lot more going for it. So anyways, turning out really good. I'm gonna put some of this blade blubber on the handle, see if we can get a little bit extra going. It must be warm. This stuff is kind of melty. Let's see here. Let's get it. Yeah, so anyways, super happy with this thing. It's really just a nice piece. Yeah, pretty cool history too with it. And I don't know, maybe if I get some courage, I will, you know, at some point take this apart so I can move what I think needs to happen is to move the tang. Man, this light's really giving me fits. It's charged. It just doesn't want to stay on for some reason. All right, let's try this guy up. This stuff smells pretty good too, this blade blubber. Anyways, so tell me what you guys think of this knife. Do any of you guys have one of these rope knives? I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Gosh, come on, light. Let's look at this bone, because this bone is good looking and it's really full. I mean, the handle is just like, all of the jigging is super crisp. There's like almost no wear to it. And now those screws have a little bit of shine to them. Yeah, anyway, good looking piece. And bunch of history here in these Miller Brothers pieces. So tell me what you guys think of them in the comments. Thanks for watching.